coat and a red ride. Welcome back, everybody. How is everyone doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you happen to be, you are back at United vs. Everybody with me, your host, Sean. I am so glad you guys are here. Are you guys still buzzing? I'm still buzzing. It did kind of going into this one, did feel a little bit like a technicality, and we did make it a little difficult on ourselves, but in the end, we are through to the final after spending the first 20 minutes trying to lose. But the game is 90 minutes, and United are in the Europa League final after running up a 7-1 aggregate against Athletic Club Bilbao over those two legs. It wasn't a pretty performance from the get, especially that first half, but it is what it is. I won't lie, though. The ref was kind of getting on my last nerve the way he was falling for everything that Bilbao were doing. There were a few fouls called against us that we weren't even making contact with everybody, but I hate playing Spanish sides. They all seem to do this shit, and the refs fall for it each and every time. We saw it against Sociedad. We've seen it again in the past with other things. It's so fucking annoying, but what are you going to do? We are going to talk about the match, though. That's why we're here, to react to the match. What we're going to talk about, what we saw from some individuals, what we'd like to see maybe going ahead, what kind of questions and thoughts Ruben Amorim might be having about his team selection as we prepare for this final and as we prepare for this match on Sunday against West Ham. We are going to talk about the news as well, because we got a flurry of news this morning, all of that. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are new, please check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved as well. Please go check out GoGoalShop to get $5 off when you register with the code that's in the link. And of course, as always, please go check out the UVE store, where you can get all sorts of merch, one of a kind, designed by yours truly. When I get some time, I like to sit and just come up with shirt designs. I appreciate the feedback. If there's anything that you like, that you don't like, let me know. But first and foremost, can we all just stop for a moment and appreciate can we feel the universal ripple effect of this fucking hug right here? I felt this from here. You probably felt it from there. Literally, like I say in my post, never has a hug hit the universe so hard as this one. That is the manliest hug I've ever seen in my life. The only way it could be more manly is if there were like bald eagles flying around and like they both turned into like werewolves when they did it, and then like an explosion happened, like somebody's transitioning a photo and PowerPoint presentation or something. That was lit. We all felt that. I know you guys felt that, but what a big moment for Cass. The dude has been absolutely class in this competition. No denying that at all. Happy to see him and Amorim celebrating. Happy to see this little bit of a European redemption arc for Casemiro as well, because we were all having some question marks about him earlier in the season. I think that was justified, if you guys remember the Liverpool match and whatnot. But he's really turned it around recently. He's really been a force in the last couple matches that he's played, especially in his last couple months. So big up Casemiro, big up everyone. Let's dive into the news, you guys. So the under-21s have a derby this afternoon in their Premier League 2 semi-final. So they will be playing City. They will be at City, so not at Lee Sports Village or anything. But it is on MUTV. For anyone who does have that and does want to watch it later on, you will get to watch that. That kicks off at like 2 p.m. So if you want to go watch the under-21s play, that is the time to do it. We've also got championship semifinal today. That kicks off at 3. Sheffield United did beat Bristol City 3-0 in the first leg of their semifinal tie. That was yesterday. Today it is Coventry Sunderland in the first leg of their tie. Sheffield versus Sunderland would be an interesting one. I think either way, it would be kind of cool to see Sunderland back. Especially just considering the road to get back here. It's kind of like doing a FIFA road to glory with Sunderland, the way they've just dip. Kind of like Ipswich when they got back, but it is what it is. But yeah, you guys can go check those out if you would like to. And since laughing at Arsenal never gets old, can we just stop and appreciate this quote from Uncle Pat here? Watching Arsenal is like watching Netflix. You always have to wait for the next season. I will never not love Patrice Evra. The dude is absolute gold. What an absolute legend and a savage to boot. But big up Patrice for your beautiful words regarding Arsenal. Who's coming up in the chat here? Rob, big up Rob. Hello, all United fans. Please hit those like and subscribe buttons. Yes, please do. I appreciate that. And check out those memberships and check out the UVE store as well. But big up, Rob. Hope you're doing well, man. You still buzzing? Still feeling it? It wasn't as emotionally kind of intense as that second leg against Lyon. That thing was crazy. Coming back from 4-2 down to win 5-4, that was an emotional roller coaster. This one was just good because, I mean, isolated, we kind of did come back just from the performance, but it wasn't the scoreline. But Rob says, another final, Arsene and Arsenal must be envious. Yeah, they'll trot Arsene Wenger back out on the camera to have him be all butthurt about United or Spurs possibly getting Champions League next year if they win. But what are you going to do? Haters going to hate. But let's move on to some transfer news while we're at it. So we did get a little bit of a Matheus Cunha update yesterday from a couple different sources, starting with Ben Jacobs, who has given us a little bit of an update. It says Arsenal have had fresh contact for Cunha with debate within the club over making a move. So it sounds like Arsenal reportedly are interested, according to Ben Jacobs, and they're kind of mulling it over within their own little structure. Some people are on board, some people are not. That's nothing out of the ordinary for clubs when they have transfer targets. Jacobs continues, says there is a new meeting scheduled between Arsenal sporting director Andrea Berta and Cunha's camp. Newcastle are also still in the race. Yeah, Newcastle really they could probably stand to upgrade on Murphy and whatnot. Or don't they have Harvey Barnes? Did he play for them too? They could probably upgrade if they wanted to kind of maintain the levels. They really do probably need to do a bit of a refresher. Newcastle, maybe a little bit of right back, maybe up there in the attack area, maybe midfield. Kai, welcome back. How you doing, Kai? Hope you're having a good day, man. How's your day going? Let us know. So Ben Jacobs giving in a little bit of a Matheus Cunha update there. David Ornstein and Romano have chimed in as well. Ornstein particularly reports that we've made our offer regarding personal terms for Cunha, and then Romano piggybacked off that and said that these negotiations are still ongoing. So we're working on personal terms right now. Obviously, we've been heavily linked with Cunha in the last couple of weeks. It sounds like that's probably the first thing we're going to try to get going. Does have that 62.5 million release clause. Speaking of release clauses, though, on to another piece of news. So we've all been reminded this week that Bayer Leverkusen winger / wingback, whatever you want to call it, Jeremy Frimpong we've all been reminded of his 35 million release clause that is going to be active all summer. I think Romano just popped up yesterday with another refresher on that. You guys know how much I love Jeremy Frimpong as far as like that right wingback, right midfield role in this system, like the one we play. He's probably the best you're going to find right now in football. You remember he was one of my options, one of my transfers in my summer rebuild under a budget, especially because of that release clause. I think it's an absolute no-brainer if that's a position that we're looking to strengthen, especially if someone wants to give us a good offer for Diogo Dalot, who I think maybe just doesn't quite suit this system these days. Dalot is 26. Whatever next contract is going to be for him is probably going to be his last major one, unless he decides to go to the Saudi League in like 4 or 5 years. But I don't know if Dalot really suits the system. His 1v1s are not great. His defending is very, very hit or miss. He has like moments, but his final ball is not improved. I'm not trying to sit here and diss Dalot. I'm just saying we've been linked to wingbacks like Giovanni Quenda and everything. What's his face? At Olympique Marseille, sorry. But if someone wants to give us a good offer for Dalot, I wouldn't turn that down. We could easily make money on Dalot with a sale this summer. Really what this comes down to, and this is kind of what I said in that summer rebuild video when I picked Frimpong, is where Amorim sees Ahmad. Really, does he see him more as a 10? Because yesterday he filled in as a 10 when Garnacho went off and Dogu went over to the right-hand side. But he's also played as a right wing back like he did when he came out against Brentford. So he can do both very well. Maybe it's good just to have quality players who can play those both multiple positions. Like I said, we've already been linked to and legit interested in like guys like Quenda and stuff. So it sounds like that position on the pitch has been identified as one that we're looking at. Quenda is young though, so maybe the priority there was a rotation option for Ahmad. But like I've said many times, if that's the case, have someone young, like a teenager who comes in and rotate, just stick with Montato, stick with Kamison. Montato's just signed his first pro contract yesterday. Kamison has played that position in the academy. He's been traveling with the squad. He was on the bench yesterday. Like he could be a good option. He's older than Quenda too. promote both those guys. Keep one as a rotation option. Is that your plan? Loan out another one to see how it goes for them for a season, and it's no brainer. Let's see. Box, big up, Box. Hope you're doing well. How you doing this morning, man? You still buzzing? Says we need a better left wing back. Yeah, well, it depends on what Shaw's going to do, because Shaw came on yesterday, kind of took up a wing back spot, and then later on was moved back a little bit as well. Amos obviously is going to be probably signing a new contract this summer, as we talked about day before yesterday. So Amos is definitely going to be an option. Obviously, we've got Dorgu in there as well. Don't forget, too, we've got Diego Lyon joining us in June. Once the transfer window opens, we've signed him. We had to wait till he turned 18. He turned 18 last month. He's joining us in June. He's 18, I think. So he's older than Amos now, right? So we've got a lot of young options. So it just depends. Dorgu's still, we're going to talk about Dorgu a little bit. It's going to sound like I'm hating on Dorgu. It's not, but obviously when I give criticism on a performance, it's not ever to extrapolate into this player is a bad player. You can have a bad match, you can have a bad moment and still not be a bad player. I think too often that line gets blurred, but we'll talk about Dorgu a little bit. But big up, Box. Rob says, has anyone seen much of Diego Leon? Well, he hasn't played a whole lot recently. I think that it looks almost like Cerro Porteño are kind of just busy planning for life without him. So that I haven't seen him starting many matches recently. He hasn't really started one since like the Copa. So, and he did well, right? But sometimes that's going to happen when a player is going to be leaving. We saw it kind of with Ander Herrera and stuff, that they don't play as much because you're trying to plan for life without them. You see that a lot with like international teams as well. Sometimes the older players aren't played as much, or they're just not included in this, or selected at all to try to start freshening up with a younger squad. So it's not surprising, but yeah, I haven't seen him. I looked on FootMob yesterday because I had asked myself the same thing, Rob, and I'm like, he's not really playing recently. So Boxing's Quenda is a bit overrated. I think that anyone linked with United, anyone who's doing well at another club, that all United fans are always going to want them. It's always the grass is greener situation with United fans. But in my opinion, the grass is greener where you water it. So in some cases, we can definitely develop who we have. Box says, no, just a few small clips. Yeah, I haven't seen a whole lot of them actually play other than that tournament a few months ago, the international tournament. So, yeah. Box, it's Dorgu, Amas, Leon are all top prospects, but none on the same level as Ahmad on the right. Yeah, it's hard to find the same level right now as Ahmad on the right, because the dude came on yesterday and just he's a difference maker. And we're going to talk more about that as well. But speaking of young players, because we're talking a little bit about young players right now, we got linked to a new teenager today. So this is coming from Lyle Thomas with Sky Sports, who reports that United and Chelsea are closely monitoring 17-year-old Juan Fernandez Torres. So he is a young midfielder, number 10, sometimes winger. He plays for Barcelona's academy. He's a Barcelona academy product. Very highly rated, being called one of the most talented players of his generation in La Masia. So very, very, very highly rated. Reportedly has a release clause of just $5 million, and United are considering activating it. So obviously he's not really featured for the first team. I don't watch La Masia games, so I did have to go do a bit of digging online to see just who this kid is, what he's all about. So I'm watching him play and watching him move, like the way he runs, the way he carries the ball, even just like his body stature when he's doing this. He looks like Messi when he's running with the ball. Like he looks like Messi, but he plays like Messi with a better passing range, if that makes sense. He's able to pick a pass from deeper midfield areas. He's able to find teammates pretty easily. So I'm not saying he's better than Messi or anything. I'm just saying that's who he looks like when he's running around with the ball. So, but big up. Danny says, flat out at work, just popping in for a few minutes. Awesome, man. Well, I appreciate you breaking all the rules to stop by and fill us in, man. But big up. Danny says he's class. Talking about this Fernandez kid. Box says Barca's best spell producing talent since the mid 2000s. Yeah, I was talking yesterday. I was watching the match at friend Bill's, and his brother Brad came over, who is an absolute beast at footy, by the way. Did soccer tennis with him a couple weeks ago. The dude has got a magical touch, but he's a Barca fan, and yeah, we were just talking a little bit out. Their academy has really, really been digging them out of the shit these last 2 seasons with everything they've got going on financially, Barcelona. guys like Pedri, Gavi, Lamal, obviously Yamal coming through has been like one of the best teenagers I've seen in a very, very long time, easily since like Rooney, Yamal. But yeah, their academy, and that's how you can save money, because even if they just sell one of these highly rated youngsters, I'm sure they don't want to, but they could. That could really go a long way towards helping them if they can kind of keep doing that. But yeah, like Bach says, Pedri, Gavi, Benal, Casado, Yamal, Balde, yeah, Furman, yeah. These guys they've got a really good young generation coming through right now. So yeah, big up there. No, it says no rules. I want to work where you work. Although I guess I do own my business, so I kind of just make the rules. So it's always casual Friday when I'm in charge. But yeah, if anyone does watch any of La Masia, if anyone does know about Juan Fernandez Torres, let us know in the chat. Like I said, I just did a little digging this morning when I saw that we were linked, looked up a couple of match highlights and whatnot, and he looks very good, but again, looks can be deceiving. But what thing did stick out to me is just the sheer number of young, like attacking midfielders that we were linked with. Guys like Nippon, guys like Mastantuono, guys like what's his face at Mora at Porto, and now this other young kid. We've been linked to a lot. Now, how legit a lot of these links are is anyone's guess, but we're being linked to a lot of these guys. We're linked to a lot of young right backs. We're linked to a lot of young center backs. So it's anyone's guess what this summer is going to look like, but you could easily bring in 4 or 5 of these youngsters who are kind of on that cusp of academy first team, like guys like Lyon, guys like Nippon, whatever, for super cheap. You can get 4 or 5 of those guys and easily for like 40, 45 million. And you've got a nice handful of youngsters who can rotate in and out of the squad and who are already playing first team football in their respective leagues. So I like that idea. I like the idea of doing that. I don't have a problem with it. So Buck says, it was good seeing the injured players last night. Collier, Xerxes, Licha, and Heaven. Yeah, it would be great if we can get someone like Collier and Heaven in rotating in the league in these last 3 league matches before the end of the season. I would love it. I mean, honestly, it might be a case of just don't risk guys like that to the end of the season and don't want to prolong their recovery, because we only have 3 league matches and then the final. So 4 matches left. So then he says, Wesley Franca. Yeah, I remember we were linked to him a while back. I saw that we were talking about Frimpong, Danny. I saw that Liverpool were linked with Frimpong as well. He would easily come in and just kind of, they wouldn't skip a beat if Frimpong. He's very different to Trent Alexander-Arnold Frimpong, whereas Trent Alexander-Arnold is kind of that wide playmaker. Frimpong is a bit more like an Ahmad, where he's going to get forward, he's going to get the ball into the box by dribbling, and he's going to cause something to happen that way. So very different profile to Trent, but it is what it is. Rob says, I didn't see Leach. I did see Xerxes. Though. Box says that Chelsea game will be a really interesting lineup. I can't honestly give 0 fucks about Chelsea right now and that bullshit. No offense. I don't really recognize that tournament. Sticking with another player that looks like they could be sticking around for at least another year. So Fabrizio Romano claims that United have decided that they are going to open talks with Tom Heaton regarding a 1-year contract extension. I wouldn't be surprised to see the same thing happen with Johnny Evans either. But the coaching staff reportedly have been the ones pushing for this decision. They are delighted with Heaton's role in helping the young players. Again, you don't have to be playing week in, week out to be a leader. Just having that kind of presence in the dressing room, being a sounding board. Obviously, you need, with Binder leaving, we'd have to literally get, because you need 3 keepers for warm-ups. You've got your starting keeper, then you've got the 2 other keepers that go off to the sides, usually like the touchline, and they'll help training. You have to have 3 keepers there. So whether or not they actually play, it is what it is. But Heaton can easily take on like a player/coaching role, leadership role. Like, he knows the club. I don't have a problem with it, honestly. It is what it is. It's not like he's taking up a spot, because he's not going to start unless it's like preseason tour or something. But let's see what you guys are saying here. Bandomac, what up, Bandomac? How are you doing, man? Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Dan says, good. We need experience in dressing room that knows the United way. Yeah, I think we've missed that since guys like Matic left, since guys like Carrick left. When Carrick was here in a coaching capacity, that's kind of like what I imagined this was going to be. Because remember when Mourinho got sacked, there were all those rumors that Pogba was talking all this shit, and Carrick reportedly was the one who kind of set him straight. And that's what we need. when Memphis Depay rolled up in like an orange Rolls Royce or whatever, Rooney was the one going in on him. Like, what the hell are you doing, dude? Like, act right, fix up, man. So we need some play. Some of these youngsters, it's not just doing it because you're grumpy, but it's just about kind of setting the pace, setting the tone, setting the status quo for what is expected of you at this club, how to behave like a professional, how to show respect and whatnot, how to not get too ahead of yourself as a young player. We need leaders. How many times have we come on this channel and talked about that in the last year since I've been doing this? Like, lack of leaders. Bruno is a leader. Cass can be a leader. I think Mizraoui, De Ligt, McGuire, these guys are all leaders, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also a mentality aspect too. I think De Ligt and Mizraoui have not. I feel like sometimes they're a little hesitant to speak up. But again, that's just what I see on the pitch. I don't know what it's like in the dressing room, but I do think De Ligt can be a big leader. Maybe there's a language barrier there. I don't know. Boxes. I think we're looking at Preston's Woodman. Yeah, that was like a couple weeks ago. We were linked to this kid. As a free agent, buy English player to be third choice goalkeeper. I mean, buy him to be second choice if Bayern Deer leaves. I mean, why not, right? We were linked to that Milinkovic Savage bastard. He's 6'8", giant of a man. We were linked to him recently this week. Looks like freaking Kratos from God of War, this guy. Danny says, catch up tomorrow, pal. I'll let you know when I get the shirt. Oh, yeah, that's right, man. You did get that shirt. Awesome. I forget what one you said you got. I ordered one for myself. It's one of the new designs that I did with the like the 3 shirts from a given season. So I did like 10 of those where it's like I've like made a little minimalist mock-up of the 3 shirts from each season. So the one I got is from 93, 94. So I've got like this black one, I've got the green and gold one, and I've got the home one, but it's all on one shirt. So go check those out. I like the way those ones turned out. It takes a little bit of time, like 20, 25 minutes to make that. But I like the way they turned out. But Box says, Van, you might be a bit too short, right? Souness, Carragher are going to be like, I don't know about that. He seems a little short, but still waiting for an apology on Licha, by the way, but whatever. Moving on to a player who could be heading out the door, coming from Fabrizio Romano again. Barcelona apparently believe that Marcus Rashford is an option for this summer, and they really value apparently how he can play as a 9, as a winger, etc. He is reportedly among their options, again, coming from Fabrizio Romano. We know that Barcelona is Rashford's dream move. I don't know what's going on with Barcelona. They don't seem like they have a ton of money. They still got players who are question marks over whether or not they could even play right now, i.e. Danny Olmo. They've got to find some funds. They can only keep holding weddings and bar mitzvahs at the Camp Nou the Spotify Camp Nou for so long before that just starts to lead to diminishing returns. So they've got to make a big sale, I think, Barcelona. Lewandowski's not getting any younger. De Jong's ankles aren't getting any stronger. I think they're going to have some work to do. Thankfully, again, that academy is helping them, but they do need something up top because Lewandowski's about to basically be 87 years old, and he can't keep going like he's Hugh Jackman playing Wolverine. He's got to go someplace sometime. So, Box says it would have to be 40 million minimum for Rashford. Yeah. And we're in a position where we can, anything is profit. So again, we've asked that question back when we were first linked with Rashford leaving, would you take money now, like any amount for him, or do you want him to go maybe do you want to hold out for more money? Like, he's injured, so he's not going to be playing really anytime soon, but we'll see. I think at this point, we all know what the writing's on the wall. It's just a matter of where is he going? And then he's got the wages to consider, because I don't know if Aston Villa can afford those wages. He is on a lot of money per week. That was our bad for doing that. It's hindsight, right? Because no one's going to, after the season he had in 22-23, like, who's going to predict it? He's just going to have a massive drop off. But it did happen. So Box says, I'm pleased for Anthony, to be honest. Hopefully he gets a good move and we get good money. Win-win. Yeah, that's what we had. Bill had 2 TVs set up, so we were watching the Spurs match in the background, and Anthony scored. And I'm like, good, more money. I don't know if it's the same kind of loan terms as Sancho's was last year with Dortmund, where we were getting bonus every time they advanced in the Champions League. If it is, awesome. The more he keeps scoring, the more money we can tack onto that asking price. We saw those rumors yesterday that Atletico Madrid are reportedly interested, and we're holding out for like 45, 50 million. I have no problem with that because Anthony's continuing to score goals. He's continuing to help Real Betis. So that only helps us. So it is what it is. He couldn't hang with the physicality in the Premier League. Maybe it had to do with pressure at United. You make one mistake, like some of the mistakes he's making, you have these matches where you're just not doing anything. The pressure is going to pile on. It's a fishbowl pressure cooker at United, and some players just can't handle that. So says Banamex says just get rid of his wages. Yeah, Rashford, getting rid of those wages is going to help. It really, really is. That's going to be like 15 million a year, I think, or so in salary. So Kai says 40 million sounds right. The same for Antony. Yeah, you can easily, get 80, 85 million. If you play your cards right, you could get 90, 95 million for Antony and Rashford. Rashford probably a little less now that he's injured and he's not doing anything. But Antony, if they win the Conference League, that could help us as well. So, and then we still get money from Sancho. We still got Malacia kicking around as well. We're going to be freeing up some space with Lindelof and Eriksen both leaving too. So we're going to be gaining a bit of wages. Now, remember, if we do qualify for Champions League, a lot of these players that had seen 25% wage cut will have that 25% return. But getting in the Champions League also means we will not miss out on some of that Adidas money. Remember, if we miss out on Champions League, if we lose this final, Adidas cut some of their sponsorship money for us. So that will hurt us as well. So there's a lot riding on this final for so many reasons, not just a trophy for Amorim in his first season, but really financially for next season as well. And yeah, you can probably make the argument, right, that having Champions League football is appealing for some players. We've seen a lot of rumors that some players are holding out for that, but we've also seen Amorim come out and literally say if that's why they want to play, then they're not United players. We don't want them. So it's interesting stuff, man. Silly season's well and truly begun. Rob says, does Antony get 2 winners' medals if United and Betis? I read that he did. So that was my next bit of news here, because it's Real Betis versus Chelsea, right? And their bullshit final. So Antony versus Sancho will probably get money. And again, I read earlier, Rob, I think you're right on that. That if Antony wins, because Antony's played like in a handful of Europa League matches for United this season as well. So remember, I think that's why what's his face Dubravka in the League Cup. Now I don't know if it's the same for UEFA competitions, but like Dubravka didn't really play for us in the League Cup when he was at United, and then we played Newcastle in the final, and he didn't play, right? So he didn't get any medals even when we won. So I do think it's the flip with Antony. I think he would get 2 medals because he's played enough in the Europa League. He's played in like 4, 5, 6 matches or so, I think, in the first half of the season. So I think Antony could get 2 winners' medals, which is fucking weird. And he gets to say I'm a Europa League winner and I'm a Conference League winner. But does anybody really say they're a Conference League winner? I mean, come on. Really? Unless you're Mourinho and you go get a freaking tattoo of it. Box says Antony would thrive under Simeone. He would replace Correa, aging Griezmann. Yeah, he could. I think he could be very good. They play with like a front 2, so I could easily see him kind of running off of or playing kind of alongside Alvarez in that front 2. They're both very similar. Yeah, it could be a great fit. I think La Liga is a good fit for Antony. I think that it does kind of fit his style of play a little bit better. It does kind of allow him a little bit more time and space to do what he wants. Bach says Kvara could get a league medal for PSG and Napoli. That's crazy. I don't think that's right personally, but it's hilarious to think about either way. But yeah, that final is going to be interesting. Do you guys think it'll be a good final? Do you like PSG Inter in the final? Would you prefer to see Barcelona? It's almost like one of those things where you kind of almost wanted Arsenal to get to the final just so they can let their fan base get a little bit more gassed up, because that makes the fall from grace just that much sweeter. But again, you never want to risk it in a final, right? It's the same with us and Spurs. You never want to risk it in a final. You don't want to take that for granted. It's not a 2-leg thing. It is one and done, the Mourinho special, right? So Box says, in terms of rivals, I'm glad Arsenal and Barca didn't make the final. Well, for banter purposes, it's hilarious because Arsenal they're friggin' in the mud. There are literally Arsenal fans out there who would take their last 5 years over our last 5 years. I mean, you can't make this shit up. The delusion within the Arsenal fan base is just next level delusion. Like, forget level 16, learn quick attack. These motherfuckers hit level 36, learn flamethrower. They are all set when it comes to their delusion levels, man. It's messed up. Rasta Stocks, big up, man. I haven't seen you in a minute. It says football heritage, the procedure will be parliamentary. I'm not accepting a loss. I demand from the players victory. Well, we got to see who we have fit. And if we cannot show up switched off like we did yesterday. We can't show up switched off like we've done several times. We cannot let ourselves be absolutely dismantled by Spurs like they've done to us several times this season. Now, remember, early in the season, that was a Ten Hag system that saw like Van de Ven completely carry the ball through our midfield. The League Cup match was different. We had a little bit different. We had a rotated team. Binder was in goal. Binder had an absolute shocker. We did end up kind of fighting back in that match. I think overall we did look good in that match. We just left it too late and gave ourselves too big of a hill to climb. So law of probability says you have to think 4 time of asking against the same competition, we might have a better shot, but you never know. I threw math out the window a long time ago in my life. Box says, I never liked PSG, but this Enrique PSG team are different. No egos, play as a team, exciting play. Yeah, the freaking commentators cannot stop going on about it. I was listening to Sirius XM yesterday on my way to the store, and like these guys, it was the worst thing that could ever happen for English commentary either that Declan Rice scored those free kicks, because after like 5-6 years of them still fucking wanking over Kieran Trippier's free kick for England, now they've got all new freaking shit to lap over for the next 5 years. Didn't even do anything in the long run, but no, we're gonna keep going on about it. We need a whole like generational refresher with punditry, because I can't stand this shit. These guys don't do research. They don't watch the game. They have little to zero knowledge of stats or data analysis or anything. I doubt any of them can tell you what XG is. I'm not saying that stats are important, but it's just, we need better than a lot of these older guys who they played 50 years ago. I'm not trying to disrespect them, but it's like, that's why it's like, I'm very picky when I have people come on the channel, for instance. Like, I'm not saying I'm this font of football knowledge and what I say goes, but I unspokenly kind of expect people when they come on the channel, for instance, that they know what they're talking about. Because I just think it's good to kind of prep. And that's why I'm very appreciative of people when they come on the channel, because I know that they do put in the work. Guys like Dylan, Justin, and Joel, these guys put in the work, and I'm very, very appreciative of that. But I do like that. Like, even when I ask people on the channel, like, have your opinion. I want differing opinion, right? But you got to give me reasons for it. Like, you can't go on and just say, well, that's how I feel. And they're like, you can't just ignore any sort of context, any sort of evidence that argues again. I'm not saying change your mind. I'm just saying you just give me a reason for why you feel. I need some actual context. That's how a debate works. Bach says, Mbappe wants a quick transfer back to PSG. Well, Mbappe, he's done. Bandomex, he's talking about Robbie Savage. Talking about anybody, man. Robbie Savage, I don't see enough of him. And it's mostly the guys on like ESPN FC. It's mostly the guys on like Sirius XM. Some of these idiot sticks at Sky and stuff. Definitely these idiot sticks on TalkSport. A lot of them, they're just bitter butthurts. A lot of them are just ex-rivals and shit. And it just does my head. And Carragher, you can throw Carragher in there too. Box says, Savage sounds like a Man United fanboy on comms. Yeah, he and Rio, they just, I don't know who allowed those two to do commentary in the same gantry together, but they get nuts. I thought that the gantry they were in when we beat Lyon, I thought it was going to fall. I thought Rio was going to absolutely make that thing collapse, the way he was jumping around, the way the camera was going crazy. It's nuts, man. I don't mind it. I wish more, like, that should be allowed. You shouldn't be like, I don't mind ex-players celebrating when their former teams do something good. What bugs me is when these ex-rival players are just so biased and transparent with their bias in their commentary that, like, they're twisting things or saying things sometimes that just aren't true. They're completely ignoring it. They single it out. It's just, that kind of stuff annoys the shit out of me. Bano says, he said it was probably the best 20 minutes of Mount's career, scored in Champions League final. Yeah, Rob, I mean, in the moment, I forgive some things, because when you're excited, it's easy to kind of just say things like that. Ricardo, welcome back, man. Says, congratulations, guys. Cheers from sporting. Dude, cheers for the congrats, man. Big up. Appreciate you stopping by, man. Box says, they had Keon on TNT comms with PSG. He was so funny. He was like listening to an AFTV representative. Did you watch Thierry Henry during that PSG Arsenal match. The dude was such a bitter little bitch that whole match. I couldn't decide if it was just I kept going back and forth. Now I was like, are you just being a little baby because Arsenal are losing, and that's why you're throwing a little temper tantrum? Like even at halftime, he was throwing a temper tantrum. He just wouldn't like. Kate Abdo would like ask him questions, and he just wouldn't answer. And I'm like, you are such a little baby. I couldn't decide if he was just bad because they were losing, or what I also thought was maybe if you remember when he and Carragher were mocking Lenny Yoro in that Newcastle loss, and they pretty much got so much stick for it that CBS removed it. I wonder if Henry was told, like, you need to stop doing shit like that, and he's maybe throwing a little pouting temper tantrum because of that. Maybe he was like, well, I can't say what I want. I'm not going to say anything. I don't know, but Thierry Henry was an absolute disgrace during that Arsenal match. Like, just go home, dude. If you're gonna act like that, just go home. Like, that's fucking annoying. What a baby. Take it like a man, Thierry. Fucking asshole. Sorry. Thierry Henry just does my head in too, man. Rob says Keanu is a man-child. Yeah, he definitely is a man-child. What has he done since he retired? Has he done anything other than just bullshit punditry? Oh, all right. Final bit of news. This is non-United news, but I saw it this morning and thought I would put it out there. So apparently Bayer Leverkusen have confirmed and announced that Xabi Alonso is going to be leaving at the end of the season after 2 years. They did not have as great of a second season, which I kind of thought was going to happen. They had an excellent first season, but kind of like Spurs and whatnot, you do get found out after that first season, and you have to evolve, right? You have to maintain. But he's probably going to Real Madrid, right? It looks like Carlos' Real Madrid job is not long for this world after failing spectacularly in so many competitions this season. They've got a Classico this Sunday, so it is Mother's Day Classico. Justin's all pissed because he's not going to be able to watch it, but hey, priorities, it is what it is, man. I don't expect everybody to be like me and literally schedule my whole day around a United match. I'll do that. It's going to happen, so... But so it sounds like Ancelotti out, maybe Xabi Alonso in, which is probably around the best time for that. You'd expect guys like Modric and whatnot to be kind of on their way out. Xavi can come in, work with a younger squad, and go from there, kind of get a fresh start here. Rob Ricardo says, Rob, box tomorrow, Sporting plays at Leuch against Benfica. If we win, Ruben Amorim will also be champion. That's freaking awesome. It still counts, even though he left in like November. That's insane. That's cool, though. We were just talking about that with Anthony. Bog says, Xabi Alonso to Madrid could be an inspired move by Perez. Get a guy to build a team, but he might have to make some big calls on certain players. Yeah. It could go one of a couple ways. We saw, what was it, like 6-7 years ago, the whole trend of let's bring former players back as managers. Like everybody was doing it. Literally everybody was doing it. Juventus did it with Pirlo. We did it with Oli. Obviously Arsenal did it with Arteta. There were a couple other teams that had done it as well. It could really go one of two ways. Sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it just doesn't. So it could go either way. On Arsenal, though, I think on Arteta, dude, Arsenal need to really have a look and maybe see if Xavi Hernandez is available. He is available because Arteta ain't it, you guys. Bach says Ta to Madrid problems. Yeah, that could be interesting. Maybe, Ta follows Xabi Alonso. I've read that Madrid are also linked with Florian Wirtz as well. I don't know how likely that is. I mean, how many midfielders do Madrid really need at that club? I think you just spent a bank load on Bellingham almost 2 years ago. You've got Tchouameni, Camavinga, Valverde. You've still got Güler. You've got Baturina. You've got so many midfielders at that club. I don't know who's going to come in and not be guaranteed to play. But interesting stuff. I wouldn't expect a whole lot right away from Xabi Alonso at Madrid. I think they're going to have to go through a little bit of a transition period, maybe put in a good challenge in the league, maybe bring home like a Copa del Rey or something. But I'm not saying they're going to be bad. I'm just saying I don't expect a lot right away from new managers, even if it is someone like Xabi Alonso, who had a great first season at Leverkusen, but Leverkusen's not Real Madrid. I've said it many times. The biggest thing you have to do at Real Madrid is manage the egos in that dressing room. You have to be the biggest ego. Now, Xabi Alonso, in my opinion, has that status as a former player to kind of command that. But we'll see. You've got a lot of young players there. Man, they might not, they might not be alive when he was playing that much. But Banamax says Verts will cost them too much. Don't think he's on a free. Yeah, I said the same thing as well. He's just, they don't have the money. I really don't think they have the money personally. So they're going to need to really be careful. Remember, it's going to be interesting too because Xabi Alonso plays a different system now. Will he play that 3-5-2 at Madrid like he's done at Leverkusen? Will he kind of go back to like a 4-3-3 or something? It's anyone's guess, but it's going to be a very interesting season. If he's going to go to a 3-5-2, then Madrid are absolutely screwed because they already needed to do so much this summer with their defense, and they didn't do anything besides promote one young defender. So to switch, when you've got center backs who are barely fit and you're going to be switching to a back three, you don't even need fullbacks anymore. What's Carvajal going to do when he gets back fit? What are guys like Mendy and Fran Garcia? I think Fran Garcia could easily play that wingback role. He's got the energy and the pace and the strength, but that's a whole different system at that he plays. So it's going to be interesting. Bach says, in recent years, Madrid had strong leaders to keep things in check in the locker room, but they've all gone now. Ronaldo, Cruz, Ramos, Marcelo, Pepe, yeah. And Casemiro, yeah. They're in a big transition period right now, Madrid. We've seen at United over the years, these transition periods are so important. You have to get so many opinion or decisions right. And when you don't, i.e. United in the last decade or so, it's just gonna keep hitting the restart button. And so we really need to make sure that we need to do it. Madrid need to do it right. And so, but we know that in Madrid, there's not much patience there. The fans get a little nutso. Florentino gets a little nutso. So hopefully if it goes well for Xabi, because you don't want to see him kind of ruin his reputation a little bit, because it does follow you when you struggle as a coach. It hurts. Ten Hag does have a bit of a dent in his record, his CV, but he did win 2 trophies and get to 3 finals in 2 years. So as he will let us all know whenever you get a chance. But that is what it is. Let's move on to the match reaction, because that's why we are here, you guys. And please make sure you're hitting that like button. Please make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Bach says Ten Hag to Leverkusen. Yeah, we talked about that the other day. I did see that rumor. That could be interesting as well. It is a very, very different system. I do think there are players there that Ten Hag would like. I think that they do have players there that I think would suit him very, very well. We'll see. I thought that he could easily go to someplace like Dortmund or Leverkusen or something and do very well for himself, but we will see. He's had some time to chill. Obviously, he's not in a hurry. We afford managers that at United because we sack them all after 2 years, and so they all have nice little severances. They don't really have to worry about anything for a couple of years. But all right, moving on to this match. So if you saw before the kickoff when the starting 11 was released, obviously I posted that short yesterday, kind of shared a bit of my opinion on that strong side I put out. It was pretty much what you and I thought it would be in the preview, given the injuries, given the priorities, given the rotation we've seen against Brentford. It's probably the strongest 11 we could have put out, given everyone being fit, right? In an ideal world, we'd have the quality in squad depth so that someone like Dorgu and even Garnacho yesterday could have been rested or started from the bench. But we are where we are. Some of these players are going to have to dig deep. Some of these minutes are going to have to get managed very, very well. Same with Bruno. I thought Bruno obviously he's going to start. Like I said, he's going to start. But I thought maybe when we were up even by 2-1, he probably could have taken Bruno off, in my opinion, and just not risked it. But it is what it is. He didn't get injured or anything, so very fortunate there. But we'll see what's going on. So watching this game yesterday, I was very frustrated in that first half. Bilbao came out swinging, which is not what I thought they would do, but it makes sense looking back now because they didn't really have anything. They had it all to play for. They had really nothing to lose. They're just going to go for it. They're without 4 of their starters. They didn't care. They gave us a ton of trouble too, man. That's going to happen though, because honestly, what frustrated me most was we showed up yesterday like this game was a foregone conclusion. Like we'd already won. We were literally playing like that. We were slow. We were just kind of lazy. It looked like we were playing like it was training or something, especially our back 5 to start that match. They were all over us. They pressed us all over the place. They forced so many sloppy mistakes, poor passing, poor touches under pressure. It was just a disgrace to start. And that's exactly what I said we needed to avoid. I said we needed to start the game switched on. We needed to make crisp, clean, quick passes from the back. This whole system hinges on building out from the back. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but the back five did not impress me to start. Euro is probably the best one out of the back five, and now it's not yet a spectacular game until later on. But I hate being right all the time because it was what I wanted us to avoid. They pressed us, Bilbao. We made a lot of mistakes. They were first to like every loose ball, every second ball, and they passed through us like we weren't even there time and time again. How many times have we seen that these last couple of years? Just completely one pass gets all the way into our area, and it was happening time and time again. Like I said, from the opening whistle, we just were not switched on. Not acceptable, and it's definitely not going to do anything for us in the final if we don't switch on from the get-go. We cannot afford to be that sloppy and complacent. Rob says, Salford to do a Wrexham saw that Beckham and Gary Neville have bought it out. Yeah, I saw they became like the sole. I mean, the class of 92 have been involved in that club for like well over a decade now. There was a whole documentary series on Netflix about it a few years back, but I don't know, is Peter Lim still involved? I don't know. Box says, I saw that too, Rob. I guess the other class 92 guys have been bought out. Man, they just might not be interested, right? So, Asif, welcome back. Cass Manhow will be something I'll be practicing this weekend. Yeah, I don't know how long you've been here, Asif. I did start the video with just looking at that real quick again. I posted it on Twitter too. That is the manliest hug I've ever seen. I felt that hug from here. Like the ripple effect that hug sent throughout the universe is felt by every United fan at that time. It was like a Thanos snap, but in the best way possible. So Rob says Onana's Superman non-save was poor. I mean, to be fair, I don't give him too. I mean, there's not much many keepers could do about that. I mean, when your defense is letting you down time and time again and just constantly putting you in a situation like that, eventually you're going to push your luck. There was a poor clearance from Maguire in the get-go, drops right to a Bilbao player at the edge of the box. And I mean, you couldn't have placed the shot any better. Onana did get a hand to it. It's just, I mean, I don't know. I can't begrudge Onana too much for that personally, but I hear what you're saying, Rob. As far as overall performance, I mean, possession was pretty even over the 90 minutes. We just happened to do more with the ball when we had it. Yes, Bilbao won the ball many, many times early on, but they literally had a 0.8 XG, one shot on target all night, which really just suggests that they weren't too threatening when they did have the ball. We had 5 on target, XG of over 2. But the problem was they're pressing and they're cutting off those passing lanes and really not allowing us to build out from the back. It kept our pass completion very low. It was in like the mid 70s. But again, that's going to happen when your entire back five is struggling to move the ball. They had 21 interceptions, Bilbao, for fuck's sake. Like, that was not okay. Off the ball, though, we were no slouches. We made 17 tackles. They only had 7. We won way more of our duels, and we had more than twice as many completed dribbles. So once like I said, when we had the ball, we did more with it. We were better with it. But that's really what you want to see in a European tie, especially if it's at home. I just wish we would have done it from the full 90 minutes and not waited so long. Rob says it was a fantastic shot. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was not the best shot of the night, but it was definitely a fantastic shot. I don't know many keepers would be able to get to that one. Maybe Prime De Gea, maybe. Initially, I thought Maguire, Euro, Lindelof, Dorgu, Mizraoui, I thought all 4 of these guys they struggled to keep up. Didn't seem like we showed up, switched on. We just were kind of knocked back a little bit by the intensity of their press, how quickly they were getting everything. All 5 of those guys, they were losing possession left and right. It happened over and over. And this is what happens, though, when you've got so many defenders who just maybe aren't good on the ball, because we know that, like, Lindelof, Maguire, and they're not the best on the ball. Mizraoui can be hit or miss sometimes. He is good at driving the ball out, Mizraoui, but he does have a mistake in him. I think a little too often he does try to take too many risks in and around his own area. Euro's still young. He's still learning, so he's going to make a lot more mistakes than you're going to see from older players. And then, yeah, it's just poor clearance with the ball. Like, it was Maguire's poor clearance that led to their goal. Mizraoui had a shaky moment, like, went to go clear a ball that was going to the back post, and it just went straight up and dropped straight to a Bilbao attacker in our box, led to an opportunity. Like, stuff like that was just happening a little too much early on. Like I said, Euro was probably the best of that bunch. He grew into the game as it went on too. His confidence got bigger and bigger, making more progressive passes, carrying the ball he taking more risks. Pretty much, he got an assist for Mason Mount's silky goal by just driving the ball up to the opposition box. There's still development to be done there with Euro, but he's looking more and more like a bargain every single match he plays. Euro, he's looking like an absolute baller. Dorgu was frustrating. He looked, in my opinion, very tired, bit lost sometimes. Watching him early on, some of these situations, he had that same look on his face. You guys have seen me talk about this many times, that like Luke Shaw had against Brentford, just kind of lost, like clearly shaken, clearly rattled, kind of like not focusing, just a blank stare. And Dorgu kind of had that going on for a while, a little bit vacant, especially after making mistakes. And he just looked lost. Like there was some times where you could see when Bilbao had the ball in certain situations, like when their wide players had it, we kind of shifted to a back four a little bit. Dorgu was kind of supposed to go press, but there were times where he didn't really know what to do, where to go, when to do it. He still looks a little lost. His crossing has not improved. He tries too hard to put it exactly to a teammate rather than simply putting it into space. And I've said this time and time again, and I was watching the overlap the other day, and it was just coincidental that Gary Neville literally said the same thing. He was like, once I learned, like, I'm trying too hard to pick out a teammate rather than I need to just put it into the good area and let them do the work. You can't do everything in that. You got the ball forward, put it in the area, and just expect that your teammates are going to be there. He's overcomplicating it, Dorgu. So just put it into space, let your attackers take care of it. I really thought, what do you guys think about that non-pen call against us? I thought that it could have been a pen. Bilbao attacker got caught wrong-sided. He had his hands all over him, and then he trips him, literally doesn't make any attempt to win the ball. We've seen those given time and time again. I really think that by the letter of the law, that was a pen, but I'm not going to be too nitpicky about it. But I thought that could have very, very easily been a pen for us, but it is what it is. Again, I'm not saying Dorgu's bad. Again, I'm just criticizing what I saw and just saying what I'd like to see moving forward. He's still just 20 years old. He only just joined us in January, so he gets more time than a lot of these other players, but there are some areas where he's got to develop. I think a preseason is going to do him a world of good, the same with a lot of these other players, because Amorim hasn't had a preseason yet. So Lindelof was poor on the ball. I thought Yoro was kind of giving away some stupid fouls early on. Mazraoui sloppy. We just gave ourselves too many of these situations where we were constantly having to defend because we just couldn't move the ball out. So we just need to do better. We need better players. Too often it just looked like Bilbao had an extra man on the pitch because they were able to move it around too easily. But moving at the midfield, Casemiro, I thought, had an excellent game. Obviously, he got that goal for being just perfect on another free kick. I can't remember the last time I felt more confident in a player in those situations. Literally, whenever he's on the field and we have a free kick in that situation, I always feel like he's going to get a goal, literally every time. And he did. He got another one, classic Casemiro free kick goal, and I could not be happier with the way he's progressed in these last few months. He's been on an absolute different level. If he can continue this form, he can carry this form into the final, I think we have an excellent chance of lifting that trophy. Ugarte, too, great on the night, did a lot of that dirty work that kind of goes unnoticed, won a lot of duels, won all of his tackles. I thought both, though, Casemiro and Ugarte were guilty of being just a little too open in midfield at times. Like I said, Bilbao were able to pass through us very, very easily, but we shook off that first half and we came back into it, so I'm not going to be too nitpicky about that. Garnacho, I thought, struggled a bit to make an impact. He did look very, very dangerous off the counter. He's playing really well off the shoulder of Bilbao's defenders, getting into good positions, but it was just a poor touch here or a poor decision there, and it just led to wasted chances. And you're not going to get those chances very often, so you have to do better when you get them, especially that 1v1 he had with their keeper. He tries to go for the cheeky little chip rather than, I thought he really could have taken a touch wide of the keeper, and then he would have given himself literally entire goal to aim for. He has the pace and stuff. It's just, that's the decision making that I'm talking about. You have to have some discernment in those situations to say, I could take a touch and give myself a little less work to have to do. But it is what it is. It's just decision making. He's got to work on it. Bruno, again, excellent match, created the most chances, grabbed his assist, So many good dribbles, crosses, tackles, duels. All these numbers for him were impeccable on the day. Just another captain's performance from Bruno. I think now that's a record for assists in a single Europa League campaign or a European campaign. I don't remember off the top of my head. I saw like something for it yesterday. Someone let me know if I got that right. But he's just having an excellent season, Bruno. Quietly having an excellent season, but the hate he gets is just astonishing. And then Højlund, too, got in on the action yesterday. Held up the ball really good in the build-up, doing very well. He's looking better at doing that than he did earlier in the season. Did very, very well for his goal. He did exactly what I've been saying I'd like to see him do more. He's patient. He wasn't trying to force it. He wasn't running all over the place to try to always make himself an option. Just be patient. Put yourself in the good position, and the ball will find you, especially if Ahmad's on the pitch and he's got the ball, which is exactly what happened. Took up a good position in the box, didn't try to force it, let the play happen, let the ball find him, and he one shot, one goal once again from Højlund. So did everything that he needed to do. Happy to see, and that's what you want to see from strikers. You don't force it. Berbatov knows that. Ronaldo knows that. Cavani knows that. Like, you don't have to do everything all the time. Just know where the good positions are. Kind of learn to read your teammates, read the game, and the ball will find you. Like, don't worry, it will find you. Kai says Rasmus is getting better each game. He's getting better at some things, which I like to see. I think it looks like he's focusing less now on like, I've got to score a goal. And he's kind of, it looks like he's mentally just kind of calmed down a little bit. He's learning, like, I don't have to just, I can help the team score without being the one to do it. I wish Garnacho would do that a little bit more as well, but he's learning to add a little bit more patience. He's learning to slow down a little. It's like when you play like quarterback in football. It's very easily to want to do everything really, really fast, but you got to slow down a little bit mentally and be patient. Goals for George. It's been a minute. How are you doing, my friend? It says 10 goals, 10 assists in 3 seasons. No player has that record at United. Yeah. You talking about Garnacho or you talking about Bruno? Because I know Garnacho is doing really, really well too. Both of them have really good seasons. Yeah, we've got some a lot of the individual performances for the course of the season, I think, are being overlooked, and not unjustifiably so, given where we are in the league, right on the table. But I think if you don't look at the table and you look at these players' performances, literally, you look at just the numbers for some of these players right now, you'd be like, oh, I'd expect us to be like top 5 easily. It's just a shit show that we're not, but it is what it is. Oh yeah, Bruno. Yeah, Bruno is having an amazing season. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anything happens with all these Saudi links, but it's hard. And me saying I'd be open to that money is not me saying Bruno is bad or that I want to sell him. That money is and what it could do for a rebuild is just you can't dismiss it out of hand is basically my point. But let's move on to my thoughts. You guys know I always got to share my 3 thoughts, starting with number 1. I kind of alluded to this earlier. I'm going to touch upon it a little bit more in depth right now, but we need better defenders. We just need better defenders. I know it's hard because so many people are injured right now. I get that. But as we've seen, this was another match where the just complete mismatch for the personnel we have and the system we're playing and the way we're trying to play was clearly just on show for everyone to see. It's just highlighted. The system, like I said, is built on defenders who can pass, who are comfortable on the ball, who are composed, who are technical on the ball. The system is built on building out from the back. And when you don't have defenders who can do that, we struggle like we have time and time again, yesterday included, against high pressing sides. When they close off passing lanes, when they press you on the ball, we end up either just making poor passes, giving it away, or passing it back to the keeper, who has to just boot it under pressure, and it either goes out or it goes right back to the opponent in midfield, and then we've got to defend again. It's just, we need better players on the ball. We need to be confident in our ability to withstand the press, or at least adequately get around it. And that confidence is only going to come when Amorim gets better defenders. Maguire and Lindelof can't do that. They just can't. Lindelof is leaving. Evans is probably going to be leaving. Maguire, he's not a bad defender. He just can't play that way. He's better against certain opposition, Maguire. When you've got people who are going to be putting a lot of balls into the box, when they're going to be hitting long balls, Maguire's shown that he can do that. I'm not going to go on and on about what he did against Lyon because that wasn't really a defensive show, but But like against City, for instance, he was impeccable against City. I think that Yoro and Heaven are good, and they will get there right, but they're young. De Ligt is good, but I think he's better in that central role where he can kind of do what Maguire's doing a little bit. Jury's out on how long it's going to take Licha to be back to his best. I wouldn't expect him to be back to his best until at least next November, December. And Mazraoui is decent. He can do a job in that right back role, but he still has a silly mistake in him, and he's a right back. And so it's difficult to say what this looks like. But you see what I mean? We need better defenders. We need technical ballers in that back line. I made my list. I've done several videos highlighting defenders that I'd like to see this club look at that I think suit the system. So go check any of those videos out. But we absolutely need to do better in the transfer market when it comes to buying players that suit the system. Because Ten Hag's system did the same thing, and we struggled again because even Varane wasn't great. Licha is literally the best defender we have when it comes to playing out from the back. And he's been the only one good for that system that we brought in under Ten Hag. So what are you going to do, though? You guys let me know if you agree or not. Moving on, number 2. The subs made the difference. So at least 30 minutes into the match, I found myself already wanting the ref to blow the halftime whistle because we were struggling. We needed to catch our breath a little bit. I wanted changes at halftime. I put a tweet out like, bring me Ahmad at halftime. We need to make some changes. When I saw that no changes were made at halftime, I pretty much figured that Amorim's probably going to give it another 10, 15 minutes. That's typically what he does. Around that 60 minute is when he starts making changes. His changes, though, changed the match, specifically Mason Mount and Ahmad. Ahmad is just so good. Dylan texted me, we've missed him so much, and I couldn't agree more. Like, literally, we miss this kid when he's not around. The night and day difference that we've seen just in the few cameos and subs appearances that he's made since he's been back fit have been just eye-opening and such a breath of fresh air. Literally, his first involvement yesterday was receiving the ball and getting it into the box, like first involvement. And then he wasted no time grabbing an assist on his way back. Like, he just makes it look so easily. I'm so confident when he's on the ball. He's one of the few players we have who can take the ball almost anywhere on the pitch, and you're like 9 out of 10%, not out of 10%, you're like 90% confident that he's going to get it into the opposition box. I told you math. I gave it up a long time ago. What do you need math for in life? YouTube videos, apparently. But he's recovered. He's returned to form just in time for this final. Wrap the kid in cotton wool until the final. He could literally be the difference maker between us winning or losing that match. So keep him fit, keep him hungry, unleash him when we get to that final, and let him cook because he's going to be the difference maker there. Moving on to the other sub that made a huge impact. I don't want to risk alarming anyone, but Mason Mount might have finally arrived at Manchester United because we need to talk about this kid. He came on 62nd minute, and again, along with Ahmad, changed the game. His first goal was so good, Mason Mount. Makeda-esque, like Kobe in that quarterfinal against Liverpool last season. Like, the dude, the filth on that goal, like, is just mind-boggling. The turn with the back heel to create the space, simple turn, simple shot, didn't need to take 100 touches, and that's how you strike a ball. It's how you score a goal. He knew where he was. He didn't need to get his head up. The spatial awareness was on point. The touch was on point. The shot was on point. Literally nothing you could ask more from that shot. He was so good. And his second goal, like, he was like, well, I did that one. Let me one-up it. Reminiscent of another number 7 putting a long-range effort into the back of the net a few decades ago. Not to mention another one a couple of years ago in Cavani. I knew what was going to happen as soon as that keeper made that shit clearance and it fell him out. Said he's going for it. And he did. And it was beautiful. And we love it. And Old Trafford was rocking. You could see it on the TV. It's a bit frustrating. And like, not to nitpick, but it's a bit frustrating that both those goals from Mason Mount were his first at Old Trafford since joining United, but I'm not going to dwell on it too much. But like Ahmad, Mount's fit and he's in form at just the right time. He gives us excellent depth. It's hard to know where he's going to fit in this team when everyone's fit and firing, but we will see what happens. But Mason Mount in good form is only good for us. So we should all, like, we can criticize the injuries and whatnot. It's not his fault. It is what it is. But we should all be backing him to maintain the form, stay fit for this final, and come on and make an impact. Mount and Ahmad understood the assignment last night. That's all I got to say, because those two changed the match for us. Fight me if you disagree. Number 3, we kind of touched upon this the other day, but it's going to be an all English final, folks. Spurs obviously won their match. I was a little disappointed in Bodo Glimt. I really thought they would do a little bit more at home. They looked so much better in this Europa League campaign than they looked over these 2 legs of Spurs. And I don't even think Spurs are that good. It's just, I don't know what happened to Bodo, man. They just kind of shit the bed a little bit. But what that means is it's an all English final. Spurs have had our number this season, so they're just physical. And that physicality, along with a couple stupid individual errors from us, have seen us drop points to them and get knocked out of the League Cup this season. We'll preview that one in a couple weeks, but it's going to be an interesting all English final. I can't wait to see all the hate. We've already gotten some hate all over the news. They trotted out Arsene Wenger the other day to complain about it because he's impartial, right, as former Arsenal manager. But it's going to be interesting. We cannot afford to go into that final like we started this match. We just can't. We won't win because we won't. Spurs, if you watched them again last night, they did exactly what Bilbao did. They pressed high. They didn't give anybody any options to pass. They wouldn't let anybody get any time or space on the ball. We have to move the ball quicker when we're building out from the back. We cannot be so ponderous, so slow, because it's just going to cost us. They won't let us do that. Watch out for Van de Ven. We're going to do more in the preview, but they've hurt us in the past, and I wanted to avoid it. I don't want to give them their first trophy. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but it's freaking annoying, man. UK Darren fan, big up, man. Good to see you. Glory, glory, man United. That's right, bro. I was singing Take Me Home United Road yesterday on the way home. I was walking around my yard singing it yesterday. I don't care. People look at me weird in my neighborhood. I'm about to go mow the lawn. I'm going to keep this jersey on because I'm proud of it. But big up, man. Thanks for checking out the channel, you guys. Until we'll talk about the final more when we get to it. Until then, enjoy this win. Look forward to the final. This is apparently the 5th season in a row we've reached a cup final, by the way. Someone check my math because I saw that on TNT, I think, posted that. We're also still unbeaten in Europe. We could literally do a Europa League invincible, so that would be fun. But apparently that's our banter era. 5 finals, a couple trophies. But Arsenal apparently are doing better than us, right? How many finals for them under Arteta? Like 1? Oh, man. UK Dare fans says we can't lose the Spurs. We very easily could, but I hear you. Like it's not acceptable. No one wants to lose the Spurs, but we're going to preview that one in a couple weeks. Obviously, ahead of time, we've got a couple more league matches to talk about until then. Keep a lookout, too, in the next couple weeks, probably closer to the end of the season for the Season 2 premiere of What If. We'll have more episodes dropping on that. We will be doing our season award show this summer, too. You guys remember that from last year, so be sure to keep a lookout for that. I will put up some voting for that one. We've got the typical match of the season, moment of the season, goal of the season, player of the season. So I will put a lot of those announcements out. You guys make sure to check that out. But it is on to the final for us. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go, baby. Like the video for me. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Please check the memberships to learn how you can get more involved in the content. Go check out the United vs. Everybody store. Tons and tons of one-of-a-kind, unique merch on there, all designed by this guy right here. Go check it out. I appreciate everybody stopping by today. Hope you're still buzzing. Enjoy your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy your Mother's Day, whatever you ended up doing. Big love to all the moms out there. I will see you guys on the next one and talk to you later. Peace.